Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. So delighted to be here. Siemens is one of the conference sponsors as well. This is our second stint after Sydney. If you look around in CMAT, I think Siemens technology is vividly used. Most of the exhibitors, it's humbling to see so much of technology being used. Today's session is very interesting because today we have few applications of Siemens being running successfully over here getting discussed. We have a very good panel right now who's going to join us. But before that, I just wanted to let you guys know that Siemens has been flourishing in the market for 150 years now in Australia and New Zealand, and globally 175 years. We have plenty of applications, thousands of customers, and millions of products running all around in the world. Today, what we want to do is we want to showcase that how Intralogistics is at the heart of everything. We approach the market as verticals, as domain specific and specific to the sector. So water and pharma, similarly we have Intralogistics. So talking about Intralogistics, we want to talk about three main trends that is present right now, which we think is very much relevant and everyone will be very much interested in hearing about. One of them is industrial AI. Before this session as well, we spoke a little bit about it. How AI is used, how relevant it is, how easy it is to deploy. A lot of people talk about it, but we will talk about the relevance of it. Horizontal flexible production, what is it and how it works, and what is the market trend and why it is so important. We will talk about it as well. And digitalization for sustainability. Of course, Siemens has so much of product portfolio around simulation, and we're going to talk about it and talk about how it's helping the customers and building application for sustainability as well. And now I will just like to introduce our panelists and welcome them on stage. Daryl Kaufman, Head of Digital Industries for Siemens. Martin Kramer, Head of Automation for Dexion, and Managing Director of Mexx Engineering, Luis De Jesus. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Daryl, I would like to start with you. Now, what we have seen in last 5 years or so, the industry is changing, manufacturing, supply chain, and intralogistics. We are at cusp of transformation. I just want to have a brief from you. What is the transformation looking like, and why? What is driving it?
Thanks, Abby. Good afternoon, everyone. I think, so post-COVID, I think everybody's very familiar with what's happened post-COVID, especially around trying to hire people and technical people. So there's a massive opportunity now to try and use technology in different ways to solve problems. I think the other thing that's occurred is everybody's using AI, not necessarily in the workplace, but certainly at home. So these two factors of AI now being prevalent and the limited technical resources has now really given us the opportunity to accelerate transformation, digital transformation, try and find new ways of solving problems.
That's one critical thing you have already said, and that's the next question to you only, is industrial AI. Everyone is talking about it a lot. I just want to know from you, like, how AI is relevant in our industry and how we can use it to our advantage.
So first of all, I think I want to highlight the difference between AI and industrial AI. You know, we're all familiar with school children or university students doing their homework using ChatGPT, and it's not 100% accurate. With industrial AI, we can't have that. Industrial AI needs to be reliable, needs to work. So at Siemens, there's two things we've done with industrial AI. First of all, we've got a collaboration with Microsoft, the industrial co-pilot, where we can use language now to program our controllers using AI. Second one, which is robot picking. So we've got an AI product. We've productized AI now, where you can order AI in a module, and you can then use it to go and pick a bin, etc. So two examples where AI works. It doesn't work 80%, it works 100%.
Great. Luis, this is your first time at CMAT, and I can see that how relevant you find this one. We started our partnership around 2.5 years ago. You had a wonderful application, a very ambitious one that we worked together on. First, I would like to know how Mexx plays in the market, and also a little bit about the application that we have developed together.
Mexx Engineering is a custom robotics automation solution provider. We fully design, develop, manufacture, install, commission full automation systems from complete factories to dedicated machines. We've been doing this for over a couple of decades now, and we do this using very advanced software. So Mexx has been doing what we like to call digital twin within the industry, but we've been doing this from the beginning. So we design machines fully in 3D, and that gives us that ability to work out what solution works best, how to get things moving around a factory properly, or even just dedicated machine to make sure it's running properly.
A little bit on the application of AGV. Just wanted to understand, like when we proposed you for the first time about C-Move, what was the driving reason why you used C-Move for as an application, and how did it bring value to your customer?
So for the application that you're referring to, we had to develop a custom solution for moving food products within a factory. In this project, it was quite a large project, we were developing both custom machinery that would make the food, and then custom machine that would package the food and case pack it and so forth. Part of the link with all those machineries was the AGV, and that was moving a trolling around to different stations. So that AGV solution was a Siemens-based solution because Siemens gave us the best hardware and software that allowed us to program exactly what we wanted. There wasn't a truck or a vehicle available on the market that did exactly what we wanted, fit within the sizes we wanted, dealt with the temperatures we needed to deal with. So we were going from ambient with one AGV and then going to a freezer room environment in another AGV. So we're actually running these units through minus 20 degrees. And that was and then the software allowed us to do that, the software and the hardware from Siemens. They have a few nice functions within their navigation system, which allows us to build a system that is required.
Okay, beautiful. Just wanted to ask a little more on the C-Move and the application we are doing. As we move forward and into the future and how we are trying to better it, what are the means, especially the simulation part, where you see the simulation offering from Siemens can help you improve the total AGV application that we have developed?
Like I mentioned before, we've always fully developed and fully designed our systems. The advantage we have now with the new Siemens simulation software is we can, beyond just simulating so it looks good, you're actually simulating within a PLC environment. So the code that you write is actually what you use to put it into the PLC. That just means we get to work out all those, again, sequences, logics, all the things that really matter. We get to do them on screen virtually before we do them in the physical world, which means any changes are easy. They're inexpensive to do a change on the screen, much more difficult once you've decided to go down a certain road in the physical machine, and now you're sort of stuck in that road. You deal with it, but it's never the most ideal solution. So by doing the simulation first, you get to see it, you get to critique it, say, what if we did things a little bit differently? And that's your chance to do it that way.
Perfect. Thank you, Lewis. Martin, you have been listening to our conversation very closely. What's your opinion on horizontal flexible production?
I think that AGVs have their solutions. Where we focus on is retrofitting existing buildings with automation. To put a conveyor system in is very difficult in an operational site. AGVs is a perfect solution in it. So it has its spot in the market. I still think conveyors are also important, but horses for courses.
Great, horses for courses. So I'll just dwell on you, Martin, a little more. Dexion, we all know that Dexion is a stalwart in industrial automation, racking, shelving, but you have such a good legacy of Dexion automation as well. We want to know from you what Dexion brings to the market, and also the application. I still remember a few years ago, we tried to solve an application together, solve a problem together, and we had a lot of passionate conversation about how to deal with it. So I just want to know from you, what do you think has transpired so far for you, and how valuable it has been for you?
Well, first of all, we've changed the name to Dexion Automation because we are now a manufacturer of automation instead of a third-party system integrator. And we have focused on a particular part of the market. We started with a blank sheet design. We wanted to have a solution that we could utilize cool room space better. We wanted to double the capacity in cool rooms because in Australia there's still a shortage of cool room capacity, and we wanted to also be able to bring ASRSs to existing customers. Dexion is a very well-known rack brand. A lot of customers want to move from a manual warehouse into an automated warehouse, and we wanted to have a product that enabled the customer in their own existing site to go to a full-blown ASRS system. So we had a blank sheet design, and we sat down with Siemens and said, okay, this is what we wanted to achieve. We want to automate and be able to give a customer an ASRS of 200 pallet locations to about 3,000 pallet locations for a very price-competitive price point. At the same time, we want to be able to supply a 50,000 pallet location with roaming shuttles. To do that, we went to Siemens and said, this is what we want. We want very simple shuttles with very simple controls, easy to maintain, because we will be in rural Australia, we will be in the Asia Pacific, and we want to have very simple maintenance and not complex AGV kind of shuttles. At the same time, we wanted to be able to put in an AI engine to do swarming of the shuttles in the last solutions. So what we put forward to Siemens is these are our requirements, and we had very interesting conversations. I'm not 100% sure. I think the coax cable technology is from the 70s. But that is a solution we came up, and the reason for it, with adaptive navigation in swarming applications, we can run it. We use Rabbit MQ, something similar like Kafka or where you run your Netflix on, to be able to have that AI engine manage the swarming in the shuttle. And at the same time, we can have a very simple solution with 200 pallets in there for a pack shed somewhere in rural Queensland.
So we also spoke about reducing the footprint of the complete warehouse. So what's your take on it, and why it is important for you to have compact footprint of a complete warehouse?
So I'm talking to a customer at the moment. We can double his capacity in his freezer. And in a normal manual warehouse, you open a door, 4 meters tall, 3 meters wide, and all the air comes out. You have a lot of cooling costs that you lose every time you open the door. Now we double his capacity. To get the pallet in, it's about 1.5 square meter of space you open, and you have a little bit of loss in your cooling. So to say, out of a sustainability point of view, removing the person going in and out for each pallet into the cool room is a massive saving. Plus, for the same amount of cooling costs, you cool the double the amount of pallets. That is something that we think is unique, and we can build it in an S shape, we can build it in an L shape, we can retrofit it to existing buildings, and that's what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to bring a product to our current customers that want to make the next step into the automation.
Okay, perfect. Louis, I'll just circle back to you on this topic. Digitalization, you have already spoken about simulation. I understand that we had conversation about NX, and you being a traditional user of Solid Edge for such a long time. How you think digitalization play an important role in sustainability? And how, in terms of doing a concept design, digitalization play an important part?
The digitalization is critical. I mean, like I've said before, we fully design our systems in 3D using Solid Edge and a little bit of NX as well, and more NX into the future. NX gives us a bit more flexibility within our design, gets us a bit more productive in our design. But from a sustainability point of view, you get to design the right system. You can calculate energy, you can calculate what you're going to do, calculate how much you're moving, how far you need to move. This is all important. You got to create the most efficient system you can, and therefore you need to fully design it in order to achieve that result.
Okay, perfect. Dal, I'll come to you. You have already heard the two magnificent applications that Siemens and customers have done together. Where do you see we moving forward from here, specifically from digitalization point of view, and how significant you find sustainability in the industry, especially intralogistics and logistics?
Maybe there's just so many buzzwords going around, and digitalization. What does it mean? What does virtualization mean, etc.? But I think, in intralogistics or any other industry, where we want to get to and where we can get to today is, before you cut the first piece of sheet metal, or when you're designing the air conditioning systems, you want to design it in the virtual world to really understand how the processes are going to work, how the movement of goods or people are going to work. So that's completely achievable today in the virtual world. That also has knock-on effects. It helps with training your staff. It helps with virtual commissioning, getting your facility up and running much faster, doing fault finding, etc. So I think moving simulating a piece of individual machinery, we're pretty good at today, but how do we then move to the next step and simulate in the virtual world the complete facility?
I just want to dwell on the topic that you mentioned in the beginning, Siemens and Microsoft, and Siemens and NVIDIA coming together and developing products which are usable. Can you put a bit more light on it?
I think one of the barrier to entry for these kind of technologies is pretty high. So if you take an engineer, off the street and you say to them, he or her, okay, let's tackle a problem using AI. Where do you start? So there's another buzzword we've introduced now is called democratizing AI. So we want to be able to offer a product with AI in it. So it's much easier to access it now. You don't have to be an expert on AI. You don't have to design something from scratch. You really can buy a pre-bundled AI solution and then just work on it. So I would say for me, our partnership with NVIDIA, with Microsoft, what it allows is it's lowering the barrier of entry for engineers to develop solutions based on AI.
Perfect. So I'll just go one round with everyone. We had a spectacular discussion. Martin, I'll come back to you again. Intralogistics, how's the future looking for you?
The future is very interesting. The one thing that we really excited about is it's a little bit changing. The customers have Microsoft Dynamics, they have SAP, they have a lot of capability in their warehouse management system, and we use purely industrial PC with virtual PC solutions, and Siemens gives us the ability to have very compact solutions, very simplistic databases, very high secure point-to-point encrypted communication to the customer's API. That way we can actually bring a broader scope of automation also to the smaller players in the market.
Perfect. Lewis, from your side, I think somebody who's challenging the status quo for Intralogistics, how you think Mexx is going to change Intralogistics sector?
For us, a big part of it is the AGV as a solution, as a way to look at changing the way we manufacture things in the logistics environment. Having that option to say it doesn't have to go on a conveyor, or we could do a different type of manufacturing system because we now could develop the vehicle that is required to do whatever needs to be done.
Dal, coming back to you. Future of logistics and Intralogistics, specifically from data integration point of view, how you see the future?
Maybe I'll answer in a couple of different ways. So first of all, it's already happened and it will continue to accelerate. The lack of skills, the lack of trying to find capable employees, plus the cost of labor will just continue to accelerate automation in intralogistics and every other industry. So that will continue. As far as data is concerned, this whole IT-OT integration piece, and there were a couple of other panelists discussing it early on, that will also continue just to increase. I think on the topic of sustainability, I mean, every board member now in Australia and most countries, sustainability is an important piece. And how do you measure how sustainable you are? It's through data. So this whole data layer piece is becoming more and more important.
I can see that it's our cue to finish up. I think it was a pleasure having all of you come over here and listening to the conversation. Panelists, thank you very much for joining us. It was lovely chatting with you. Everyone, thank you very much.